Hi there, my name is Mark. I am making this video so I can briefly go over some of the details of this Doctor Strange LED disc. Now keep in mind, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't make a lot of videos, but I wanted to make this to help answer any questions that you had and so that you were as well informed on this item as possible. So I'm going to make it a couple different videos. I'm going to start with the actual LED acrylic disc, okay? So starting with this, you'll be able to feel that one side is engraved and the other side is not. Okay, that's going to come in, that info is going to come in handy here later. The LED stripping, I have super glued to the outer edge, facing down so the LEDs shine in to get it, you know, obviously to light up. I used Gorilla Super Glue to get all these little points super glued. I haven't had any issues with the super glue coming off or any, you know, the LED strip coming off, but it's super glued in enough places to where if at one point something does come loose, it shouldn't be too hard just to get some clear super glue and pop it back on there. So you'll see the connection here. One thing to note is on this connection, this little prongy deal here actually does come out, okay? So make sure you keep an eye out for that when you are connecting and disconnecting to make sure that that is there. The other end of the connector, which goes to your power source, which is powered by 4 AA batteries, there's your female end and there's your male end, okay? One thing to note about this is when you are connecting it, it only goes on one way. The best way to figure that out is to put it on one way. As you can see, it did not turn on. So we'll turn it around and plug it in that way. And there you go, she's on. So just play around with it, make sure the box is on. And it also, if it doesn't come on, play around with the remote just to make sure you turn it on and off, okay? Because also on this cord, there's your sensor right there for the remote control, okay? That's gonna allow you to change the color to whatever color you want. You could even put it on a mode where it slowly changes colors or quickly changes colors if you wanted to. And there's also a brighten and dim button if you wanted to do that. But for now, we're going to keep it on green, and I'm going to unplug this just so I can go over the next thing. I'll just go ahead and touch on the battery pack here as well. So again, the battery pack takes 4 AA batteries. As you can see, those will not come with the disc, so you'll just need to throw 4 AA batteries in there. Let's see, the battery pack also has this connector right here, which will come on and off. And just, like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory, but I want to try to be as thorough as possible. A little prong deal that only goes on one way. And then your RF connector is right there to go with the remote control. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on. Okay, this is the handle that I made. Now I considered making a hardened acrylic handle for the backing, but what I found is that people were complaining that it wasn't as super sturdy, and everybody has a different hand size. And with that solid piece, it also led to chafing, and when your hand starts to get sweaty, it could slip off pretty easily. So what I did is I asked a lot of people, and this is kind of what we came up with as the best option for the handle, okay? So it's just a suction cup with a vinyl, pretty thick vinyl stripping there that we used for the handle, okay? So you can put this suction anywhere on the disc, but one thing you really need to remember is that when you put the suction on the disc, you put it on the side that is not engraved, okay? Because if you put it on the side that's engraved, there's going to be air that's going to be able to seep in, and it's not going to adhere, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put this just right here in the middle. Make sure we can see that. Okay, so now it's attached. And then just throw your hand up on there. And if you want to get a really super tight fit, might behoove you to ask for some help from your kid or wife or friend or neighbor. But anyway, once you throw it on there, one thing that I really wanted to show is that once it's on, you don't really have to worry about it falling off, okay? So your fingers are gonna help secure it and, you know, whatever. And actually, probably wanna do it this way. Because when you put it on, it's probably best to have that connector at the bottom. So put the suction cup so that the connector is near the bottom, so that when it connects, you'll be able to also secure this to your arm and hide the cording through your sleeve. Okay, so I also wanted to show that a lot of people might be concerned that a suction cup might not be the best option for holding it on, but I've given this the test, and as you can see, that suction cup is not going anywhere. Now, it may be possible that during certain temperatures, if you're going on a Halloween night, or if it's a cold night, or it's humid, that might affect the suction. I don't have that experience because I live in super cold South Dakota, and we just don't really have the weather right now for me to test it in all these different scenarios. So use caution. Make sure you're keeping an eye on it throughout the night or whenever you're using it, if you're using it at Comic-Con or whatever. One option you do have is get yourself some clear super glue and just put a nice little dollop right there in the middle and then secure it exactly where you want it. Then of course it's going to be permanent. Also keep in mind that you want to hold it down and let it dry completely before you start pulling on it or messing around with it, because if you do, that super glue is going to start to kind of get a little I don't even know the word. It's not going to be super clear anymore, because when super glue dries and you start pulling on it, then you'll kind of get this white haze. Is it going to ruin the disc? No, but if you want it to, I guess, not have like a little bit more crusty super glue residue in there when it lights up, again, most people are probably not even going to be able to tell the difference, but like I said, only super glue it if you really want to or need to. And the other reason why I wanted to make the handle removable is so that it can be used for display later on. And I went ahead and custom made this little display stand and put a couple Dr. Strange things on there. And you could either display it lit up, or, you know, really all you got to do is throw it in there however you like. Okay, so there's the display stand. That one's pretty self-explanatory. I don't even know why I really went over that. Another thing to note on the battery pack is I cut out a piece of thick black acrylic and I super glued it to the top here to make strapping it to your arm a little easier, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and show how that works real quick. And putting this on yourself is possible, but I'd recommend having somebody help you out, you know, because we don't have 3 arms. It'll make it a little easier for getting a nice tight fit. Okay, so you're also getting this Velcro strap that will come with your disc, and then you just take the Velcro strap. This is the, you know, Velcro side up and feed it through that little eyelet that I made. Okay, so it's fed through, and then you've got a eyelet here, so feed that through that side. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like afterwards, okay? And I found the best way is just to throw your arm through there. Babe? Karen? Karen? Come here. I'm going to show you how to do it with the friend option. Let me get your help here. So again, with your friend, just put your arm through, throw it up on your bicep or whatever, and then there you go, and then Velcroed down, okay? So that's held there, and now the cord is going to come along here. So we'll grab the disc again. Let's go ahead and put our handle on. Put the handle on, cord's at the bottom. Put it wherever you find is going to be most comfortable. And I just about made the mistake. That's the engraved side. We want to make sure we put the suction on the unengraved side. Okay, so once that's in there, we'll go ahead and plug them together. And remember, this only goes one way. That's the right way. And there you go. So you can see the cord is hanging a little loose here. The cosplayer that I made this for initially, we suited him up in it, and he's got, of course, the long sleeve deal. So the long sleeve is covering up all the cording here, and we also made sure that this RF connector was kind of just peeking out the sleeve. That way, if you wanted to change colors later or turn it off, you could do so. Now remember, this is where that little 4-prong connector is. But if you are secured, or maybe if you want to throw some more straps or whatever around your arm to keep everything secured, you can see there's enough slack here to where you can move around and that's not going to unplug. Okay, so as long as you have a nice, good, secure way of holding this to your arm, you're not really going to have to worry about that disconnecting. And the positive note about that easy disconnect is if, let's say you're at a bar and you're drinking, you can just unplug that, put your disc away wherever you need to. This little guy will just be hanging off, you know, knock a couple back, and then you can plug it back on, plug it back in whenever you need it. Other than that, it's really up to you how you want to implement it the best way, whatever way. I just wanted to kind of go over some best practices, in my opinion, of how I think would be the best way. But appreciate the purchase. You can contact me anytime if you have any questions, either via Etsy or you could either just shoot me a message on Etsy. I'm very responsive with that. Other than that, the remote's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, you can put it to whatever color you want. And I think that's about it. Like I said, if you have any questions, just let me know. Oh, I think there's one thing I didn't cover. So these LED strips were actually intended to be, they have an adhesive on the outside. They're actually intended to be adhered on this side and shining out the other way, but I have them shining inward. That's why I had the super glue on the inside. So this stripping can come off on the back, and this is actually sticky on the outside. I am just going to go ahead and leave that on there because I haven't had any issues with that coming up. But if it does come up, what I recommend is just get some paper if you want to get rid of the adhesion. Get some paper, cut it down to size, and then just wrap it around. That way you don't have to worry about the adhesion. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Again, I appreciate you visiting my store, and I really hope you enjoy the light. I did a lot of work. It took me a good amount of time to make sure that I made it as convenient as possible and as easy to use, and not something that you just use one time or for one event. I wanted to make sure that it was something that you could display because it really is a nice piece. So again, I apologize if I sounded like a total moron, but I wanted to give you as much info as possible. Thanks again, and we'll talk with you later.